Hello, yeah, wrong. Let me just adjust the camera, make sure everything's fine. Oh, lovely. What oh. Welcome to the Body of the Kirk. I do hope you have a small snifter with you of the altar wine. I do have my Jaeger bomb hibiscus, which I will get to in a moment. And we will get to your comments in but a moment's time. The slight delay this evening simply because the printer wasn't playing ball. So it may go off like, hang on, let me just cancel that. Right, thank you very much. So it was halfway through and decided not to play ball. That's modern technology for you. Anyway, welcome to live number 132. We've done a fair few. The channel is forever growing, and I'm forever thankful for that. Thank you very much. Simply because we've done 132 lives. We stand at about 510 videos. Someone on Google quoted me a stat the other day that said that Mr. Beast only got to 10,000 subs after 460 videos. So I am forever hopeful that we'll get to 10,000. Never thought we'd get to 1,000 in the beginning, to be fair. And thank you to everyone that likes, subscribes, watches anything that I do, because it makes me feel very humbled a lot of the time. So tonight we're going to have some really deep stuff, if you don't mind. It appears. Bagger, hang on. It appears that there's a very deep stuff going on, and I will talk about it, but also we're going to balance it with some light and frivolous stuff. We're only 2 weeks away, not to sort of worry you or anything, but let me just write this so I can remember. So because it's, it's supposed to be a jolly time of the year, and I also acknowledge that there are a lot of people that watch this might be on their own at Christmas. So I don't want to kind of go all, Christmas nuts, just out of respect for other people, because I have in the past been on my own for Christmas Day. So I understand it. I mean, working in broadcasting, you literally work all the way through the holidays. But I decided to take some time away, become a hermit, become a monk, and spend Christmas Day on my own, which was a bit of a revelation, I have to say, getting away from all the stuff. But so I will acknowledge those that may be on their own, and I'm thinking if I can get away with it, considering my family circumstances, not quite sure what I'm doing on Christmas Eve. Can't do it Christmas Day because it's Christmas Day, but I'm thinking about a live around sort of Christmas. Just, it might just be an hour of me talking to you via the comments, just to sort of wish you well over Christmas and the festive period. We definitely will be doing something around New Year's. Quite what? We haven't decided. But I better get my gogs on. I will tell you about the bishop popping over a little earlier, but I think Stuart's already out of the game. Andrew James says, Psalm 1 verses, Psalm 1, chapter 32, verse 3. Let us go to his dwelling place. Let us worship at his footstool. I think you know your place, Andrew. You can worship at my footstool anytime you like. In fact, you can give me me brogues a bit of a polish while you're down there. Said a spokesperson. Stuart says, Rev, the bishop was questioning me. He's convinced he heard you say that there was Jaeger bomb in your hibiscus on Sunday. He's now watching me as I make it. Lucky for you, I've got some Jaegers hidden in my coat. Good man, Stuart. Top man. Way to go. All I need is my skis on the end of my feet. But thank you, Stuart. Thank you for the consideration. I've not coughed once this afternoon. Not once. Although I do have emergency tincture, just in case. And before anybody else starts nagging me, I've got an appointment at the doctor's on Friday. He'd probably want one of my lungs for me to give up some of my organs. Tracy, the celibate sinner. I'm suffering from pink eye. Should I? Do I really want to read this out? I'm suffering from pink eye after green leafy veg detox went horribly wrong. Oh, I say. Celibate sinner. During a 69 session with me fella, not quite sure what you're talking about now, with my fella Blu-ray, I'm sure he is, his cabbage-fueled fart caught me full blast in the face. Oh, I say, Tracy, was it an ambulance job, or did they send a paramedic round to just have a look and a laugh? The all Bovril says, evening, all ready and waiting for the rev. Oh, you utter wrong, and the all Bovril. Stephen Hall, evening. Evening, Stephen. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. Evening, Adrian. Thank you, Stephen. Soul Rebel's in early. Bugger me. What? This early? I'm only just starting, man, Soul Rebel. I could have lost an eye. There, Tracy. Yes, I'm so glad that I had my eye defenders on. Welcome to the body of the Kirk as ever, Soul Rebel. And Soul Rebel says, I meant you. His arm. Oh, his aim ain't that good. Well, I never. Brown trouser job. P.T. Ham. Evening, Adrian. Evening, all. Evening, P.T. Ham. Tom Harney's. Evening, one and all. I think I'm early enough tonight for a decent place in the pews. Get in there, Tom. Get in there. Otherwise, you know what these lardy arses are like. They'll be bringing their piles cushion and trying to take up far too much pew. Andrew James says, the Rev has taken the evening off, so we are waiting for Matthew Corbett to drive to the Kirk to take over. Sooty, in the nude. In the field, Alex says, evening, citizens. Have we all scanned our digital ID before taking a seat and settling in? Oh, you're far too astute in the field. You know that I'm going to talk about that this evening, don't you? Yes, Reverend. I better make sure I've got my notes down there. Yeah, I've got it somewhere. Hang on. I'm just checking. Toot sweet. Have I? Yes, I have. Just making sure. The moderator says, Andrew James, that is false news. Well, I'm hoping it's false news. I have foregone Columbo on binge watch. Oh, I say. Tracy the Celibate Sinner to the Soul Rebel. Not so much touch and go, more touch and cloth, your Reverend. Amalia's in. Amalia's remembered. Evening, Amalia. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. I do hope you've brought a little Battenberg with you and a little, well, you know, altar wine or something a little stronger. The Bad Wolf Project says, evening, Battenbergers. The Bad Wolf is in the house. I know. Mad Matt UK. Oh, Mad Matt UK. Welcome to the body of the Kirk again. Good evening, one and all. And, oh dear, Cell Rebel. Johnny Ray. Oh, good. I got here in time. Johnny, welcome to the body of the Kirk. And Jean, the Psychic. Jean Psychic. Hello. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. We have missed you, Jean Psychic, and we've missed your comments. So please feel free to post away. And if you're a first timer tonight, or first time poster or commenter, if you wish, then please let me know so I can pop your cherry. Jean, Kathy Harper. Good evening, all. Good evening, Kathy. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. Ernst Goldfinger. I do hope one can make it into the pews this evening, Ernst. Tracy Ann Cannon. Oh, hello, all you big yins, wee yins, and wrong yins. Welcome, Tracy Ann Cannon. You're almost most welcome into the body of the Kirk. It is a tad cold this evening, so I do hope you've either brought jumpers, not those kind of jumpers, woolen ones that you put on your body, your utter wrong-uns, and you are feeling a little more, well, festive, so to speak. We'll be talking festive stuff tonight, of course. Des Ashton. Des is back in the body of the Kirk. Des says, evening all from, in the name of Private Baldrick, boom, 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 boom. Boom. Cheers, Des. Are we talking? Do you know they're bringing it back? Or they're thinking of bringing it back? do you know, it's literally, because I've read your message out, I was going to say something and it's gone out of it was on the tip of my tongue. So Baldrick and what's his face? They're thinking about bringing it back, but not quite sure in what guise. Because when it gets to November the 11th, and they sort of run that very final scene of Blackadder, and Baldrick's still got a cunning plan, but it's just. TV is astounding sometimes in its way of communicating emotion. It's a bit like you and I talking here, it's emotion that connects people. We're human beings. We're having a human experience, and to be human is to be emotion. So that scene is incredible. Whoever wrote it and directed it, I think possibly Ben Elton, but it just conveys so much our history, our some people's legacy, the things that those that went before us did. And I'm gonna later on, I am gonna talk about sort of generational stuff, how I don't really understand Gen Z, but I'm not supposed to. That's their generation and it's their stuff for them. But like my dad didn't understand me. He thought I was a bloody space cadet, and his dad didn't understand him because he was always out on the larger and away at sea. So every generation is different. To quote a Ronnie Laws, jazz musician, a Ronnie Laws song, "Every Generation," which is beautiful, by the way. If you've never heard of it, go to Spotify, check it out. Sorry, I was off there. I was veering off. Bad World Project, but how many of Mr. Beast videos are paid for? Oh, I'm sure there's a lot of water under that particular bridge without getting myself into any trouble, if you know what I mean. Oh, Stuart, you utter wrong. Jaeger Bomber Biscuits. It's a thing of the future. Who needs to go skiing, I say. Well, I was going to say something there, but that would have got me in a whole lot of trouble. At the end of last week's live, I did talk about your trust and my integrity. And it's... I've been watching sort of some YouTube stuff over the last couple of days. I'm not going to name any names, but if I may be so bold, there's so much bullshit flying around. Now... The beginning of this channel, I'd been thinking about it for a few years beforehand, and it's the now new Mrs. Allen that said, "Oh, just give it a go," and I was like, no, face for radio, no. And then there was an opportunity of a subject that I know a lot about, and I just thought I'd stick it up there. The first video was going to be a video about Diana and FIAD and working in the FIAD organisation at the time she was murdered. So I was, did I say that out loud? So I was going to sort of do a video about that, and I didn't have any expectations about the channel, didn't have any expectations about, I don't know, likes, clicks, subscribers, all that malarkey, because I just want to do it for I just enjoy it. I just enjoy communicating. So that's why I did late night phone-ins, that's why I did lunchtime phone-ins, because it's the art of communication. That's what I'm up for, basically. But there's like the Maya Tusi situation. I'm not sure whether you're aware of it. Oh, look, man, I know when I'm being jerked off. I know, with two hands. I know. So no, I don't believe some of the stuff that's floating around with Maya. But if you have something that you can sort of hang your hat on, if there's some real contention or moral indignation, then people will subscribe and people will watch. So that's the art of the modern art. I understand he's now calling himself the king of new media. Hang on, Maya, mate. If you're watching this, stop that, because you're nicking Howard Stern's stuff. So please be original. Howard Stern's the king of all media. It's in his books. He says it all the time. And you're nicking his lines? How weird, man. At least be original. It's a bit like Andy the Gabby Cabbie. That's not original. It belongs to a New York cabbie that called himself the Gabby Cabbie that I had on my radio show back in the 80s. Live from New York. I think it was Belfield that gave him that. So, you know, I don't bear any grudge or hardship with Andy because he wasn't a no. And now he's using it to great effect. So I wish everyone well in their journey. But oi, 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 oi. Sometimes integrity is worth a whole lot more than subscribers, let me tell you. A couple more before we kind of get into it, because I'm sort of I'm getting my feet under the table and I'm feeling a little more alive. Oh, I tell thee. Max Starr, welcome into the body of the Kirk, Max Starr. Hola. Louise Hampson, evening all you wrong'uns. Evening, Louise. Welcome to the body of the Kirk, as I do with Buck. Rogered. Hello all. Hello, Buck. Welcome. Is that Uncle Buck or is that just Buck? Rogered. Even Stephen. Hello. Hello, everyone. Hello, Even Stephen. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. And Nikki Watson, evening. Oh, evening, Nikki. Welcome, 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 welcome all. Right, we've done enough of that. I enjoy. I know sometimes some of my friends, they're if you watch this live and it's not live, it's sometimes I'll stop and pause for comments for people to interact with what I'm saying. And that's the whole premise of the live. I would rather more people watched the live and more people interacted with the comments, because I'm a phoning guy. That's what I do. Call me. Not in this scenario, obviously. And if I make a few bob, and if I win the lottery, then I'll buy all the equipment and we'll do a phone-in. That is still on the cards. But I have said many, many times, and many people ask me, I'll only do a phone-in when I can do a phone-in of a professional standard that is as professional as the standard I used when I was doing phone-ins on LBC or the BBC. The BBC was a bit shite. The equipment was a bit off. But LBC and Century and Real Radio and all the others that I did. So I will only do it if I can have a professional go of it. And to do that costs an awful lot of money. So the next live is going to be this coming Sunday, the 15th of December 2024. We're getting to that time of the year where Psychic Adrian will don his turban and try and make some predictions for 2025. Do you want one tonight? Do you want me to give you one tonight? Prediction before you start. Where's Tracy? Do you want me to give you a prediction for 2025? Oh, let me think. Oh, Jeffrey Epstein's going to rear his ugly head again. Oh, but Reverend, what makes you say that? He's dead. Correct. But I just have a feeling that 2025 is going to be Epstein's year. I can't elucidate anymore. I have cogitated on it, and I can't say anything else other than, I think 2025 is going to be Mr. Epstein's year. He'll come back from the grave. Sunday, December 15th, full moon. Vixtex, is it? No, the bloody wonder. It feels a bit, it's the 11th now. I knew we were coming up to a full moon. How did you do that, Adrian? Well, I just had a feeling. Drum roll from Soul Rebel, Karina Jane. Oh, yes, Jackie Glasgow. Well, I never. She's crying with laughter. Ray Norton, John McAfee. No, he's dead. John McAfee, isn't he? I wonder why they unalived him. They've unalived Jeffrey Epstein. Are you watching this? Some women are calling the hot assassin. I mean, bloody women, man. This is a guy that shot another guy in New York, and the women are going, oh, bloody hell, he's good looking. I mean, how weird are you? Well, not you. I mean, everybody in the body of the Kirk this evening is of a certain decorum, but like women in the press, and they're kicking off about Greg Wallace. So a murderer, he's particularly hot. The hot assassin, they're calling him now. Honestly, it's a thing. If you're, I won't go into it too deeply this evening, but I will tell you, the guy they've got in New York that they've arrested, that's not the assassin. Don't be silly. I mean, they've been watching too much telly. They've been watching too much Cagney and Lacey in New York. That's not him. Do you realise that they can have men that don't look anything like President Brown Pants brown trousers, just put a latex mask on and then be Joe Biden. Couldn't get me words out. Des Ashton, looks like he regret them eyebrows a bit quick. Yeah. Some people are looking at the pictures and going, well, that's not him. That's not him. And so you would sit there with the murder weapon on you a week later with some ID on you. Hadaway and shite, man. The thing we just got off the last banana boat. But you know, the mainstream media will promulgate it and promulgate it and promulgate it. And it'll be like JFK. I'm a patsy. I'm a patsy. No, somebody else is going to come out and shoot you dead. So they'll unalive this guy, a bit like Epstein. They'll unalive him. Just keep watching the story that the legacy media, the mainstream media want you to believe. They don't want you to know the truth. Just believe what they're telling you. That's the art of telly. It's all propaganda. All of it. Even the people that work in telly, they're all as fake as... Just keep believing what the propagandists tell you. Have you not... We are going to talk about Syria, but have you not asked this question? A really simple question. Where the bloody hell did that come from? So... there we were, minding our own business, and all of a sudden it's all kicked off in Syria. And you're thinking, I know you are, because you're pretty sharp. Hang on, where did that all come from? 1 minute we're talking about Ukraine, then Sniffy comes out, not out, comes out and says, right, can we have a bit of peace, please? President Trump, he's a lovely fella, yeah, lovely fella, love him, we need some peace. I'm not going to tell you where all the billions have gone, but yes, we'll have peace in Ukraine. And Vladimir Putin's gone, right, lads, right, I think it was the intercontinental ballistic missile that did the trick, but thanks very much, lads, we'll have a bit of, can I have Crimea? Because that's where the oil is and the gas. So I'll have the Black Sea and Crimea, and you can have, BlackRock can have the Ukraine. And then all of a sudden, boom, Syria, it's kicking off. Left, right and centre, bomb, 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 bomb. And Israel have got people on the ground, they've got tanks in Syria, and they're bombing 20 miles from Damascus. And you're thinking, hang on a second, I'll go to bed one day and the world is one way, and I'll wake up the next day and the world is another. And then the newspapers the following day have got reportage from inside Syria. Do you know how quick they can't get to Syria on a plane or a train or a boat? Exactly. How the Foxtrot Oscar did they get into Syria so that they could post it in the following day's newspapers? Hadaway and shite, man. Just saying, for a friend. The moderator, Neil Cunningham. Oh, Neil, what you been up to tonight, man? Just be gentle, Neil, because the moderator is God. Even tells me what to do. Just keep watching. If I say anything out of turn, I think it's AI myself. I think the moderator is AI. Have you seen what Google are doing with like AI? I mean, I know it's a bit woke, but have you seen what they're doing with the computers? The qubits, which took some arithmetic, some kind of mathematics that would take a normal computer like 100,000 years to work out, and it did it in 5 minutes in its coffee break. You think, whoa, hang on. And I was looking at the timeline for all this. By 2030, that computer processing is literally going to control everything. I doubt they'll be able to control Keir Starmer because he's already a robot. But otherwise than that, they'll be telling me and you what to do. No change there then in my house. The moderator, you own the I own the swear box, 14 quid. I've only been on 25 minutes. Amanda Grassi, learning lots here. How do you say it? Oh, right. Amalia. We will have a quick northeastern vocabulary lesson. And this is how it goes. It's, can you remember the singer? Hadaway. What is love? Well, take had away, 2 words, had away, it's just one N, it's not a full word, shite. Don't need me to tell you how to pronounce that, man. So if you put them all together, had away, shite, man. It's a term of endearment that we use in the northeast of England, where if you meet someone, a close friend, and you haven't seen them for ages, you just go, "Oh, Hadaway and shite, man." You're round at the bar. Thank you very much. Mine's a pint. Kaz P65, just unplug it. Oh, I say. What are we talking about, Kaz P? That magic year 2030. Exactly, Stephen Hall. Agenda 2030. And they're just, they're getting it in there. They're being sneaky. That's Klaus Schwab. I've got to be careful what I say about him. But I have been doing my research with Mr. Schwab. And do you know something? All of the stuff that he was accused of has magically disappeared from the internet. Well, I never. And if Amalia's been able to pronounce it correctly, what do we say to Klaus Schwab? Hadaway and shite, man. Not hideaway and shite, man. The oo bovril. It's got to be hadaway. You flatten your vowels. You're from the northeast. You flatten your vowels. Had away. Not away. Away. Shite, man. I promise you, you say that to anybody from the northeast, you will definitely be bought a beer. And a visit to the hospital to get your lip fixed. Amalia, what a woman. Alan, why I, Mon, no. Do you want to know how to sound like a Geordie? Just say Kawasaki, man. Kawasaki, man. It's a bike, obviously. Plenty of those in Newcastle. So it's why I. Again, it's just one of those expressions that is friendly. If someone goes, "Oh, Adrian, can I buy you a large one?" "Oh, why I?" And it's kind of an acknowledgement in the affirmative. Make it two. "Oh, why I?" Andrew James. Oh no. I know, but had away short for hide away. Oh no, that's what the monks on Lindisfarne used to do when they got accused of messing with the children. They would go and hide away. But they are posh, remember, the monks. So they would say hide away. We say, "Oh, hide away and shite, man." It's kind of, it's just a term of endearment, let me tell you. But just make sure you buy them a pint afterwards. We're pie, yeah. Somewhere over the rainbow, Des Ashton. Way a pie. Neil Cunningham. Starmer is on Sky Movies over Christmas. C3PO in Star Wars. Oh, do you know? I was going to talk about him starring in a film. I think that Starmer is more the Grinch than C3PO. C3PO actually is of some use. Funny. Johnny Ray, why I, man? Oh, that'll do. Roy Michael Taylor, first time watching you from Derbyshire. Very funny and educational programme. Thank you. Young Roy Michael Taylor, I had the best time in Derbyshire, let me tell you. Century 106 did the lunchtime phone in. Leicestershire, Nottinghamshire and Derbyshire. And there was a bonfire night fireworks switch on at some park in Derbyshire. There was like 250,000 people there for me turning the lights on. Let me tell you, Derbyshire is fabulous. It's beautiful. The people are wonderful. I cannot fault Derbyshire. The countryside is breathtaking in Derbyshire, breathtaking. So good to have you on board, Roy Michael Taylor. First timer, love it. Exactly that. Had it away and a shite, Battenberg myself. Really, exactly that. Do you know, I am trying to work with the SAS because evidently when they go on manoeuvres, and they have manoeuvres, they have to try and hide it from, whomever they're observing, shall we say. Shan't go too technical. But, if they take Battenberg the day before, well, the dogs won't trace them because it won't smell of anything other than Battenberg cake, like, man, hinny. The SES, no, it's good. Top of 69's in the body of the Kirk. Gary, no, not really. Who? Soul Rebel, Ginger Growler is defo a Snowpiercer. You think? she was looking different in PMQs today, I must say. Should we get into some proper stuff? I mean, you know, I'm increasing people's vocabulary this evening, and I do need to be entertaining. So, gogs away. What was I going to talk to you about tonight? I want to talk to you a little later. I don't want to do this at the beginning because obviously I do prep for this, whether you believe that or not. And it affected me so much that I had to just sort of down tools and walk away and go for a walk in the fresh air for 10-15 minutes. I don't know whether you're aware of the murder of Sarah Sharif. We'll talk about that later. I just want to put it on your radar because they're going to be sentenced. Being found guilty, they're going to be sentenced next week. But, you know, making predictions for 2025. I am merely an amateur, a proper amateur. Jesus, brain's moving faster than me gob. I am merely an amateur. Now, if you look back at some of these lives, I've predicted black swan events. I've said that stuff was going to happen. And technically, we could have the attempted assassination of Donald Trump as a black swan event, because literally by a hair's breadth, he could have been unalived. He could have been assassinated. And that truly would have been a black swan event. But Syria could be seen as a black swan event simply because it's not going to stop. I mean, I don't know how the newspapers and photographers were able to get into Syria, get into Damascus within hours of it all kicking off, and then find all these torture rooms when, if the truth be known, there are government ministers that were doing deals with Assad and Syria to buy our gear. And I'm not talking about powder either, not the sniffy stuff. I'm talking about our arms and armaments. I'm not going to name them for fear of any legal retribution, but a couple of years ago, it wasn't that far away that the Brits were in Syria flogging our arms and armaments. So are they going to step up and go, oh, we knew about it ages ago? Because Assad was seemingly their friend. And now that he's not buying any more gear, he's obviously not their friend anymore. It's just a money-making scam, man, all of it. But have you heard of a Bulgarian healer? And, well, they call her a mystic. She's a psychic, basically. Now, I don't know whether you believe in any of this, because some of it is proper guff. I have met people that go, I'm a psychic, and I've afterwards thought, no, you're not. I've been on radio shows with people that they want to be revered. I mean, not like Derek Akora, who I have interviewed. Lovely guy. But have you noticed how whenever he was channeling something, they always had a Scouse accent? So, Baba Vanga. Yeah, Baba Vanga. I'm thinking of the Venga boys. So, if I mispronounce it. Same as the Diamond Princess being evacuated in the first COVID scare. The bus to collect them had a man in a hazsuit, but the bus driver didn't even have a mask on. They missed that detail. Oh, I know. I mean, it's all propaganda. You don't think that the telly's meant to dumb you down, entertain you, and keep you quiet. Well, I want you here. I don't want you quiet. I want you here. I want you making a noise. I want you to kick off. Because that's the only way. You see, the politicians think that, well, they can tell us whatever they want. I mean, look at that idiot, that clown in Clown World. I mean, every Wednesday, I watch him. Prime Minister's Questions. Are you sure about questions? He got a proper doing. I mean, Kemi Badenoch had him bent over. She may as well have been wearing a, mind you, might not like that. So, we will get to that. Let's get to, most haunted TV show, says Stephen Hall. So, Rebel, only Bulgarian I know was Georgi Markov. Oh, I remember that name. Yeah. So, Baba Vanga, she was born in 1911 and died in 1996, but she made some predictions. And they're still coming true. I want to tell you about this prediction she's made for 2025. As I say, Bulgarian mystic, famed for forecasting major global events, and she has Honestly, I mean, she died in 1996, but she's had an 85% success rate. Vanga was warning of a global conflict that will be triggered by Syria's fall. Now, we can kind of, World War One, maybe World War Two, maybe, and then we had the Arab uprising, and was it the '67 war? I mean, there's always conflict going on in the Middle East. There's always conflict happening. So, is it really a prediction, or is it just kind of like you can say it and it'll happen in the next 30 or 40 years? And actually, at some point in the next 30 or 40 years, it's going to happen. It's all kicking off, mind you. I noticed why they couldn't muster a defence when these insurgents kicked off. It's because all the bloody Syrians are over here. That'd be good news for them then. They'll be able to go back, because they were telling us, oh, no, we can't go back. We'll be persecuted. Well, it's a different side in there. So you can go back to your home, take your wives and your kids, off you go. What do you mean you can't go back? I mean, it's different thinking, different opposition. Syria's your home country. Off you go. Unless the government, of course, and Free Gear Kia, says, no, I'll defend them. I was once the director of the Crown Prosecution Service, so I'll defend them. Don't you worry. Anybody. I bet they won't bloody go back. And do you know what they'll say? Oh, I can't go back. I'm gay. I'll be flogged and then hung in Syria. I thought you had a wife on a weekend. I thought you had kids. Well, it's actually my brother. So with militants now brandishing captured Russian-made weapons, so the Russians were supporting Assad, of course, that's why he buggered off to Moscow. Baba Vanga has said that there'll be a global conflict triggered by the Syrian fall. And I'll quote her exactly. When Syria falls, a great war between the West and the East will follow. In the spring, a conflict will ignite in the East, leading to a third world war, a war that will destroy the West. Syria will fall at the feet of the winner, but the winner will not be the one. What do you mean, the one? As in, like, The Matrix? So she predicts a great war, and it begins in Syria, and then the winner of Syria isn't actually the one. But is it going to... Because I think Putin is saying to the Russian people, don't go to America. Why is he saying that? I thought his mate Trump was, well, like best pals, and they were like, oh yeah, we'll have peace. So, World War III in the spring. East versus West, anyone? So what does she mean by East versus West? Is it Middle East, or Far East, or just East? And is the West just anywhere, I don't know, Tel Aviv to Gran Britannia in Iceland? Is that the West? She predicted it, 85%. Prediction correct rate. That wasn't even English. I'm not even speaking English tonight. But she said, and I'll read it to you again, because this is the exact quote. You can take all the extrapolations and all the people that are saying, oh, well, it's this and it's this and it's this. This is her exact quote. She died in 96. That's nearly 30 years ago. And she said, when Syria falls, a great war between the West and the East will follow. In the spring, a conflict will ignite in the East, leading to a third world war. A war that will destroy the West. Syria will fall at the feet of the winner, but the winner will not be the one. It's not Andrew Tate by any chance, is it? So I thought I'd sort of lay that at your feet, because as I say, I'll get me turban on. Mystic Adrian, trying to predict stuff for 2025. I did say to you last year that 2024 was going to be 2023 with steroids on. Oi, 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 oi. Was it ever? And the reason why I kind of started tonight's live off with that is because have you noticed how the left, and I don't want to go down the left and the right and the red and the blue and all that malarkey, because it's being created to keep you dumbed down. It's created so that you have the thinking that, well, it's democracy, Adrian, I've got a choice. Well, have you noticed how suddenly we might have had loads of different political parties in this country, but we've now turned into America, where we only have two choices: the Democrats or the Republicans, the red or the blue. No. And people are kicking off on poor question time. They're kicking off because they're saying Nigel Farage has been on there 30 odd times. Where's all the Lib Dems? Oh, dear Lord, you don't want that guff on the telly, man. It's bad enough that they've got 60 odd MPs. So Ed Davey. Oh, no, I'll save that one for a moment. I've got something really, 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 really important to tell you. Give me, I don't know, 5-10 minutes or so, and I'll let it loose, matron. But have you noticed that the new rulers in the parish are all a bit dull? They're all a bit, I mean, at least Tony Blair had a bit of chutzpah about him. He had a bit of charisma, and some of the Tories, and I'll give you this differentiation between all the stuff that goes on with politicians. So you've got the left, and it's always about money. If you look at the Labour Party and the backhanders, it's all about money, 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 money. But if you look at the Tories, they've already got the money, so it's all about sex. All of the stuff that kicks off about the Tory party, it's always going to be a sex scandal. But it's not going to be a sex... Well, I'm not so sure about the leader of the Labour Party currently, after all the rumours that I'm hearing. And some YouTubers are trying to get that out. I mean, out, about him, about somebody having children out of wedlock, and actually the marriage is disintegrated, so he doesn't live with her anymore, and he's ambidextrous. Bye. And I'm thinking, how can you get away with that? How do you actually get that out there without somebody going, oi, yeah, wrong, and you can't say that? So, Bad Wolf Project is Isabel Oakenshoft, Working Bum. What, she's getting all that out there. She got some of it, not all of it. But I just think that, I mean, I look at them and it's almost, even when they stand at the dispatch box and try and crack a funny, it's not funny. I mean, it's about as funny as an attack of piles. It's not. So I just thought, what's the best way to get back at the left wing or the Labour Party or the other kind of left of Stalin? Let's have some best jokes ever. In the comments, what are your best gags ever? I can give you some of mine. You might groan, but what's the difference between a wildebeest and a canoe? You can't paddle a wildebeest. So just think of this as a jab to the heart of Labour, who have no sense of humour. None. Put your best gags in VixTex, AC/DC. Yeah, great band. Great band. Definitely. The Bad Wolf Project, Tice's beard. Oh, has he got a beard as well? Starmer's biological. Well, I very much doubt he uses Daz to wash his suits in. I can recall Stephen, I can recall Harold Wilson. I mean, he didn't have a great sense of humour, but that was like 50 years ago. They didn't have sense of humours in the 60s. They had to have the Beatles, not the Rolling Stones, just the Beatles. Two nuns in a bath, says Cuban Pete. Go on, what's the tagline? Oh, brilliant, Max Dart. Dyslexics of the world, untie. Noddy done for using hatey words, got caught calling someone big ears. Brilliant. Love them. fill you in. What's the difference between Batman and... Oh, dear. Fill you in. I can't repeat that one. I will be taken off. Q and Pete, where's the soap? Yes, it does, doesn't it? Brilliant. Deer is expensive, isn't it? No, I said, what's the difference between... No. Wildebeest and a canoe. Can't paddle a wildebeest. What, do I have to go blue and tell some Chubby Brown jokes? In a Brumai accent, what's the difference between a buffalo and a bison? You can't wash your face in a buffalo. Brilliant. Brilliant. Like that one a lot. Fred Barker, dyslexic man walks into a bra. Johnny Ray, this Labour front bench come across as vacuous. Oh, you can say that again, Johnny Ray. God, did you see him today? It's almost as if they're not even human. Well, I saw Ginger Growler today. I mean, Robert Reeves was looking terrible last week, as if somebody had just shit in a handbag. But Ginger Growler was like, she was just spaced out last week. So I thought, I'll have a look. I'll keep my eye on her. And not quite sure. She was a bit more animated. But it's like, Starmer is cockeyed. So when he needs to look at his notes, he looks down like that. And the camera is not catching his face. It's just catching his hairstyle and his glasses, and that's it. But if he was taller, he'd be able to stand up and the camera would be able to... Maybe somebody needs to put some lifts in his shoes or walk on stilts, one of the two. Oh, the Bad Wolf Project. What do you call fake spaghetti? An impasta. Man walked into a bar. He went, it was an iron bar. Oh, I've heard that one before, Tom. What, a long time ago. In fact, that's on my Top Man CDs, the funny gags. How many animals can you get in your pants? Go on, Karen Boo. I'll wait. I mean, I've heard it before, but I'll wait for the gag tag. English bottle cap. Hard of hearing landlord asking where people come from. First said he come from Saltburn. Second said he come from Cockermouth. Two different sides of the country. Togger 69, was she a couple of lines short? I don't know what she was. But they weren't even... They're not even... You know, at least the Tories would point and jeer and have a go and get it a bit raucous. It's almost as if... I mean, I've seen people posting on social media about how PMQs went today. And it is amazing how I watched it from beginning to end. And I can't get over the disparity between what people have watched and what I know that I saw. They're like, Sir Keir Starmer really gave it to Kemi Badenoch. Were you watching the same PMQs? I mean, Kemi Badenoch was... well, she probably gave it to him. We will get to that in just a little while. But I'm looking for your best jokes ever. Best jokes ever. We'll maybe have a question and... why did the dinosaur cross the road? Because chickens weren't invented. Brilliant, Leah. I'll use that one. Rorkida, have you heard about the dyslexic pimp? He bought a warehouse. Brilliant. Ray Norton, what's the longest tongue twister? You can read it. I'm not repeating it. I'm already down 14 quid in the swear box. Neil Cunningham, dyslexic atheist, solely sold to Santa. Brilliant. Why isn't there a pregnant Barbie doll? Kem came in another box. Easy for you to say. English bottle cap. The hard of hearing landlord said he couldn't hear what they said. So the first person got some from the salt cellar and threw it into the log fire. Right, okay. Andrew James, what do you call a Bible character who just pulled into church, a parking lot? Oh. Talking about Damascus. It's all kicking off over there. So keep coming with Sandra Wytham. Hang on. Leeds is top of the... Where's Leeds tonight when we need him? Top of the championship, Sandra. Blades winning again straight. Oh, you're back to the top, are you? Rats. I mean, I don't know what's going on with Sunderland. I think they think that draws wins somehow. And I do believe that Speakman, the director of football at Sunderland Football Club, is actually choosing the team. I think there's a lot going on in the background at Sunderland Football Club. And the players are not really playing. But Sandra, I look all the time to see where Sheffield United and Leeds are, because I think that Sheffield United and Leeds are going to be the top two. I think Burnley's just going to miss out. Sunderland will be fourth if they're lucky, because at the moment there's a couple of... it's a shame Middlesbrough didn't help us out last night. And is it Blackburn? So I believe that the Championship is the toughest league, tougher than the Premiership. So good to see you in the body of the Kirk tonight, Sandra. In the field, what's black and white and eats like a horse? A zebra. Ray Norton, guy puts condom on the wrong way. He went. And final one, Napoleon blown apart. Why has India never won the World Cup? Because every time they get a corner, they build a shop on it. Napoleon blown apart, you can say that, but I can't possibly comment. I did a question. I did a poll about Sadiq Khan, whether he should get a knighthood or not. And literally on Sunday, everybody said, no, not interested. I put another video up, and everybody went, no, not interested. But Sadiq Khan is actually the mayor of London. And I think what you may have forgotten is that he was given £4 billion to build 35,000 homes in London. And so far, he hasn't finished a single one. No, I doubt he will, because I'm not sure he's been a brickie in the past. But the question I want to ask is, what the hell has happened to the £4 billion he was given from central government to build 35,000 homes in London? £4 billion. It could have paid for the winter fuel allowance for the pensioners. That's always going to be the reference. So I think the saddest carnage should come out, not out, just out, should come out and tell us, where's the 4 billion quid? Everybody's forgotten about that. I haven't. Terry Woodford says no, but he is another one with a nice property portfolio. He might have a nice property portfolio, but he hasn't got 35,000 homes built that he needs to build. The utter wrong 'un. But a question that I was thinking about this whole, it's almost, so the propagandists, whether it be the newspapers or the evening news or the legacy media, they kind of go, oh, the Prince of Wales, William, is out with a beard. And then they completely forget about the subject, which is 4,000 pensioners are going to freeze to death this winter. And every time I think, oh, it's a bit chilly, I'll put a jumper on, I think, those poor pensioners, 13 grand a year, and they can't, it's either heating or eating. But what no one's asking is this: how we as a society have allowed our pensioners to get into a situation where a £300 one-off payment makes a difference between heating or eating. Now, I'm not suggesting that we, park a Rolls Royce out their front door and give them a mansion to live in and living a life of opulence and luxury. But I will tell you this, and you can reference this, back in the day, when maybe in another year or 2 or 3, it definitely will come before the end of this Labour term, they're going to be after your pension. I'm joking, you're not. If you want me to make the prediction, they're going to be after your pension. They don't want you to be, have enough money to maybe have a holiday, or maybe have some lovely food during the year, or maybe have a cold house in the winter, because it is getting colder. They're not interested. These people are evil that are making these choices, and they have deniability. They have set the system up so that they can say, oh, but this committee and that committee have done this and this investigation, and we've got this research, and the Office of National Statistics, ONS, say this and say that. But I am telling you, they're going to turn around and say, we're in the shite, and, we're going to have to stop all the pension payments. Or they're going to give it another term, not as in political term or governmental term, but a term. They'll call it something else. But I will guarantee you, as sure as eggs are eggs, this government are going to be at it with the pension. So by the time I retire, there might not even be a state pension. They might get onto Gen Z and say, right, we're going to do away with the state pension and all that money that they've got in the coffers, and you're going to have your own personal pension, your own private pension, and we'll help you. We'll give you £1 a year or something to be able to facilitate that, but we're going to do away with the state pension. You can imagine the kickoff that's going to happen, but it will be problem, reaction, solution. They will do something and they will tell you, but this is a bit like I told you back in July. Individual digital identifiers. Have you cottoned on yet? We're going to talk about that in a second, but I will guarantee you, watch out for this. These bunch of WEF-alites are going to do away with the pension, because remember, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. They need to get us that way. So a 15-minute city, they're not going to sort of like do away with all the transportation. They're not going to do away with everything that will put you into hardship. They'll make it easier and easier and easier. And it will be mission creep. That's what it will be. Mission creep, so that, as I've said to you before, you stick a frog in a pan of boiling water, it jumps out. You put a frog into a pan of cold water, it'll stay there until you boil it to death. And that's what they're doing with me and you. They're going to try and make sure that we are dirt poor, seemingly happy. Just watch for it. I never joke about stuff like that. There was another thing that came to my attention, and I was listening to the radio, and somebody said, "Oh, I'm a student nurse, but I have to make a decision on a regular basis. I'm not paid enough, so a nurse's wage is quite poor. Not a consultant's wage, obviously, but a student nurse or a nurse at a certain band will not get paid that well. But there's still companies or hospital trusts making a shit ton of money from the parking at hospitals. And I thought to myself, are we still nailing these nurses, metaphorically, for their parking? And seemingly this nurse has to pay between 40 and 50 quid a week. So imagine 200 quid out of your lowly pay going to park at work. I mean, which grifter decides that? There should be a law against this. We should have something on the statute books which tells the hospitals, the trusts, and the people that oversee the parking, anyone that works at the hospital gets free parking. Thieving bastards, man. Sorry. Turning into sweary Mary tonight. Just going back to Syria. Do you know how I know? Oh, right. So let's do this as in solus. Let's do this complete. And once I'm finished, I'll have a look at your comments. So remember, for the last 2 years, I've told you that there is a plan. There is an agenda. There is a central banking cabal, namely the Rothschilds. One of them died in America a couple of weeks ago. Bit iffy, if you ask me. But there is an agenda so that one family, one cabal, owns all of the central banks worldwide. And there are still 6 that they don't have control of. Oh, let's think. Syria is one of them. So over the next few weeks and months, they will get control of the Syrian national or central bank. There are others. Hungary, Venezuela, Iran. They want Iran's moolah. China and Russia. So let's look at it. They've taken the opportunity, and this cabal can facilitate billions of pounds of arms and armaments going into the militia to overthrow Assad and get control of Syria. And what will be the first thing that they want control of? The banks, the central bank, the money. Just keep watching. It's all unfolding to their agenda, to their plan. I've been telling you this for the last 2 years on a lot of the lives. Keep watching out for these 6 countries, and all of a sudden, the 6 become 5. And how do I know that it's central banks that are doing this? Now, seemingly, pallets of cash have shown up in government buildings in Damascus, which is in Syria. The pallets were marked with a QR code, and this QR code led to none other than the Federal Reserve Bank in New York. Are you getting it yet? So it supports the theory that I've just told you. International banking cabal is funding wars and overthrowing governments. Regime change so that they can get hold of the central banking system of that country. Syria's already done. And you think I'm making this up. Just keep watching. The fireworks will start. It's all a distraction. We get to Christmas, we get to New Year. By the time we get to January, we're already 6 weeks in. And they've got control. 6 becomes 5. Oh, and the kickoff with China? No, they found $80 billion worth of gold buried 2 miles underground. So China's pretty safe. And Russia? Nah, Putin's energy. He realizes he doesn't need to buy into the dollar. The dollar's done. The treasury, when Trump gets in, is going to bring Bitcoin under their treasury, and America is going to become the crypto capital of the world. So Russia's fairly safe. But I'll mark my words, Hungary and or Venezuela is going to be the next one. It will then kick off big time in the Middle East. Why? Because they want Iran. They're not interested in religion. They're interested in division so that you don't understand what's going on. But I'm giving you clarity here. Complete clarity. Hungary, Venezuela, or Iran will be next. North Korea, that'll be down to Trump, and he's negotiating the art of the deal. But they're still fair game. Mark my words. I'll give you a little good news, I think, and then we'll look at some really deep stuff. Johnny Ray Starmer says, you will own nothing and be happy. Well, check out his watch on his wrist at PMQs today. I was trying to freeze frame it, but that boy's wearing some coin on his wrist. Never mind his $2,000 glasses and his... do you think it was a gift from Bill Gates or the chief exec of BlackRock, Larry Fink? I want to know who's giving him these kickbacks. I want to know where he's getting these freebies from. As I say, if you look at Labour, all of them, the politicians, it's all about the grift. It's all about the freebies. It's all about the money. Because the Labour, they've come up from, well, Starmer didn't. He wasn't working class, my hairy backside. But they come up from working class roots, come via the unions, and that's why whenever there's a scandal in Labour, it's always about the money. When the Tories, it's all about the shagging. It's all about theft. The good news, and I was thinking about the best people, the legends of 2024. I think, didn't we start 24 with the Post Office versus Mr. Bates drama on ITV? See, it seems so long ago, but I understand, and this is breaking today, The Met, as in the Metropolitan Police Force, have stated they have identified dozens of post office and Fujitsu staff as people of interest. Now, what that means, they're going to interview them. Persons of interest come in, and the people from the post office and Fujitsu may face charges of perjury and perverting the course of justice. So it looks like all of the, when the postmasters were being taken to court and saying, there's 35 grand missing, you've stolen it. And post office staff and Fujitsu staff were going into court and saying stuff that might not have been completely true. Well, the Met have stated that they have identified dozens of post office and Fujitsu staff as people of interest who may face charges of perjury and perverting the course of justice, except the cases won't be heard until 2027. So are they waiting for some people to die? But the cases won't be heard until 2027. The inquiry's not complete until 2026, so maybe they're not going to do anything until after the inquiry and the inquiry publishes its findings. But either way, I think this is wonderful news. So I wonder, persons of interest, people of interest, who on earth would that be? But it looks like they're going to be spending a couple of Christmases, they're going to be spending it in Chogi. All those lies, all the stuff that they put those postmasters through. And we didn't find out really. And that includes Ed Davey. Yeah, that muppet, that clown, who said, no, I never met him. We know you didn't meet him. Oh, I was going to. Honest, I was going to. Aye, right, mate, you can hide away and shite. Everybody knows what that means now. I've taught them tonight. The watch on Starmer's wrist is a Vacheron Constantine 56, valued at £12,000. Bad Wolf Project. That's some research. Thank you very much for that. So, £2,000, Gogs. He's soon will be more than a couple of grand if he's been to Jermyn Street in London, and a £12,000 watch on his wrist. How can he afford that on a PMQ's wage, considering that he's got a wife and a few kids? Nice. Was it a gift, Sakia? Was it from William, as in Gates, or was it from Larry? Or how much did they pay you to be able to put that shite in the cows and in our milk? Thank you, Bad Wolf Project. That is some eyesight and some research. Ray Norton says, Stephen Hall, Windows is hardly perfect. Haven't used the PC for weeks. Sick of the stupid pain in the derriere updates. Use the phone instead. Do you know, there was my computer. I've got Mac and I've got PC, and my PC was doing like weird things over the last couple of weeks. And it updated itself. I don't want updates. Look, I bought it. Don't update it. I don't need any security. I only use my PC for looking at your comments on my screen while I've got my phone recording. I don't use it for anything else. Well, apart from writing a few Word documents. But just leave it alone. It doesn't need updating. But they don't. And then it took me a couple of hours it started putting pictures up in the background. And I was like, oh, how are we in shite, man. So it took me an hour to try and work out how to do it. But I'm sick and tired. I wish they would just Foxtrot Oscar and leave me alone. And leave us alone, judging by your comments. German for shirts, Savile Row for suits. Oh, I say, Ernst Goldfinger. What, oh? I thought it was German Street for, the shoes and everything on German Street. I wouldn't go to Savile Row. No. Mag you off there, definitely. Amalia says, I want a list of all trustworthy dairy. All right, we'll get that together for you, Amalia. I'll do a little video. It'll just be scrolling all the stuff, and you can pause it and write it down, or I'll put it in a comment on one of the videos, so you can have a list there for you. Don't mind doing that at all. You have to look at the response to something. So it's the Isaac, was it Newton's second law or first law? For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So you've got to look at this. When the brown stuff hits the fan, not the trousers, as in President Poopy Pants, but the fan. When it hits the fan and you watch these PR teams paddle furiously to get their clients' reputation unsullied and keep it unsullied. So when it all came out, I just thought to myself, whoa, it's going to cost a few bob, because we've had, can you remember, I would say the top 3 food scandals that we've had in, say, the last 20 years. We had Mad Cow. We had another Mad Cow, Edwina Curry, and the eggs. Can you remember the horse meat? That there was horse meat finding its way into the food chain and nobody knew why or how? Yeah, we've had all that, but it comes to the milk, and whether they're trying to do the needs of the farmers, I don't know. But they're trying to say, well, if we feed the cows this, it'll reduce their methane emissions by 27%. We don't need to give them that feed. Feed them garlic. It has exactly the same. And if they excrete some kind of stuff into the air, it falls back down to the ground, they eat it, and it's all in a cycle. Just leave the poor cows alone, man. But no, we can make money. Yeah, we can make money. That, in my view, Bill Gates has to be the most evil human being on this planet. With nobody within a country mile of that man. He's got his fingers into everything. He's been to Epstein's Island. He's got his fingers into everything. And now, not only did he want the jibber jabber given to everybody, including little kids, remember that video clip, but he wants to feed the cows. He wants to control the food. He wants to, kill us off. I swear. In my view, and it's only my personal opinion, I wouldn't touch anything that had Bill Gates attached to it. Whether it's America, he did say, could I help Donald Trump out? He's not now the richest man in the world. You know who is not even country miles, you can't even use that as a measure anymore. Elon Musk is now worth $400 billion. And by the time Trump's finished his term, he's just going to be, it's stratospheric. But there's always going to be some kind of kicker with this. There's always an ulterior motive. What that is, I've no idea. But in my view, I would not touch anything that has anything to do with Bill Gates, with yours, let alone my own. The only hope for mankind is that those coming behind them, metaphorical, of course. I know he's been to Epstein Island. Has he been to a Diddy party? Those that come behind him are not as evil as him, but it depends how they're corrupted by money. It's just awful. And BlackRock, 11 trillion worth of assets. And they're now into crypto. So over the next 4 to 6 years, you're going to see a major fight. Once Trump is in power, you're going to see a major fight between all of the major players with all of the major money trying to buy all the crypto up. Because once all the crypto's done and Bitcoin is finite, it's finite. Once they've got it all, they've got it all. But it's going to take another 100 years to mine all of the Bitcoin. And I'm just saying this as an observation. I am not, under any circumstances, going to give anyone any financial advice because I'm not professionally qualified to do that, and I'm not suggesting anything. So you have to do your own research. But my view, my observation is that it's going to get pretty lively over the next 4 to 6 years. And but I must reiterate, I cannot and will not give any financial advice whatsoever. Do you know what's gone quiet? And I've no idea why. Because, remember Southport and people were being jailed. Like, you're kicking off? Jail the next day. You're writing posts on social media? Jail the next day. Can you remember that MP who clattered that guy in Runcorn, in Cheshire. And then the bobbies went to have a word. Hello, we need to have a word, we've got it on camera. Nothing's happened. Nothing's happened that I'm aware of. Maybe I need to do more research, I don't know. But I will tell you that it amazes me how swiftly justice moves when two-tier, three-gear Starmer, I was a director of the Crown Prosecution Service. I was director of public prosecutions. Well, why can't you move this then? You know people. Have a word with people. You can't do it to the man and woman on the street and then not have something that's on video and have somebody... well, I'll just leave it at that. But it has gone quiet. That Labour MP. Nothing happened. What was I going to tell you about? Do you know what else hasn't happened? Manchester Airport. Wonder why. 2 brothers arrested 5 months ago. Now, as I've said, the police, the government, the judiciary jumped into action. People jailed for non-violent, no-sex crime within days of doing stuff, of taking a placard and waving a placard, of shouting at police officers, jailed, nailed, 2, 3 years, some of them. Now, the police will have investigated the CCTV and the media released questions. They started shouting, "Who released the CCTV?" Actually, that's not the question they should be asking. What they should be asking is, what's the police going to do about it? What's the government going to do about it? 5 months later, remember, there are people that shouted hurty words at the police and waved a placard. Poor Peter Lynch waved a placard. He got 2 years. Killed himself inside. May he rest in peace. And yet, these two, as I've said before, they were released on police bail. They've not even been charged. Why? So, come on, two-tier Kia. Tell us, as the Director of Public Prosecutions, what would you done in this case? It just makes you go, because we're not as thick as they think we are. We're awake. And that's the problem. They can't have us awake. They want us dumbed down. They want us watching I'm a Celebrity and Colin Rooney chewing on some kangaroo balls or something. They want us to be fooled by that and to take the propaganda that they put in the newspapers. I mean, do you think the world is looking at the assassin, the hot assassin in New York, thinking, oh, yeah, he definitely did it, mate. Oh, yeah, yeah. My first reaction was, oh, he's a patsy. And now he was being led by police officers into some building in New York. And he was shouting, they're trying to fool the people of America. Oi, 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 we get it. We get it. It happened 50 years ago, 60 years ago. We get it. Being set up. And where's the evidence? Oh, don't have any. And did you not see the kid? Anyway, I'm going off track. We'll talk about that later. So let me tell you about things that make you go, So we've got the 2 brothers at Manchester Airport. They've not been seen. The lawyer that was representing him, oh, no. Can't represent you anymore. No. Why is that then? We know why. But Diddy and Epstein. So I've told you, prediction for 2025, you're going to hear from Jeffrey again. Oi, 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 oi. And then we've got little Diddy. Oh, bless him. There's a newish lawsuit for young Diddy, a 10 and 17-year-old boy. Sorry, 10 and 17-year-old boys. One of them, the 10-year-old, was flown out to meet Diddy. Went to meet Diddy on his own. His parents went with him, but he went to see Diddy on his own. He was given a soda with somebody else in the room. And he said he would have to do things that he didn't want to do. Woke up in pain. I'm not going to elucidate anymore. And if he told anyone, his parents would get hurt. 17-year-old went for a 3-day audition. Day 1, he was playing the pink oboe. I mean, somebody said that Diddy is a level of evil that you can't get your head around. What? More evil than Bill Gates and more evil than all the politicians that are doing what they're doing for the cabal that is in WEF. Oh, by the way, talking about WEF, let me... I've got it written down because I was quite... it was a piece of information that kind of took my breath away. So just think of it this way. You are the carbon they want to reduce. Forget Agenda 2030, although that might be Agenda 2030. Forget net zero. You are the carbon they want to reduce. Now, WEF, the World Economic Forum, has headquarters in Switzerland. Obviously, I've been there. But it also has offices in New York, Beijing, Tokyo, San Francisco, and Mumbai. I didn't know that. I only just found that out today. Thank you to the person that made me aware. And as I said to you before, they're going to come for the state pension next. You mark my words. And when I say to you that you are the carbon that they're coming after, you are the carbon that they want to reduce, can you remember, and we've talked about this before in our life, can you remember the film Logan's Run? Now, I'm sure it's either on YouTube or it'll be on one of the streaming services that you can get for free. But it is a fictional film. And it was released in 1976. And it's kind of... the premise of the film is a sister dying. So if you look at Australia and Canada, New Zealand, and now Britain, where they just voted for it last week, all those countries have signed and implemented a death bill. So the assisted dying that is now in 2024 in all these countries, it's exactly the same almost as the 1976 film Logan's Run. So what happened, the premise of the film is once you got to 30, once you aged 30, citizens were forced to participate in a ritual called carousel to prevent overpopulation. I mean, you could call this carousel, this ritual, almost like Russian roulette. You could say that the Labour Party have implemented this ritual called carousel. It's now called withdrawal of the winter fuel allowance. So just to see how long you can last and see when you die. But this film, it's 76, so it'll be 50 years old almost. 48 years old, where citizens are forced to participate in a ritual called carousel to prevent overpopulation. And Logan was the Sandman in the film that had to track someone down. I mean, it's kind of history repeating itself. It's awful. Imagine being exterminated at 30. I mean, if we look back at 30, we hadn't even grown up then. We didn't know anything. In fact, we were as mad as hatters at 30-year-old. I didn't mature until I got into my kinky 30s. And then I would suggest that my best decade was my 40s. I was still physically able to do what I'd always done, but had a bit of life about me. I don't know, would you say that whether you're old enough to say that? All right, I'll ask you a question, because I have got another question coming up, but I'll ask you this question. What would you say, looking back, was your best decade? 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s? When would you say your best decade? Looking back, reflecting back, when would you say was your best decade? Which one would it be? Terry Wookford, American Werewolf in London. Oh, English Bottle Cap, 40s. Alan, 70s. Tracy the Celibate Sinner, 1990s. You're wrong. Lord Jim Dandy. Lord Jim Dandy, 80s. I'm not talking... Well, all right, then. You've obviously... I've not explained it correctly. Because some people, yeah, Andrew James says 1770s. Bless. I did realise you were that old, Andrew. Right, I'm going to ask you a question now. I want you to indulge me. One, where's President Brown Trousers? He's MIA. Have you seen him recently? No, me neither. But staying with this, Jeremy Corbyn, you know Jeremy Corbyn? That multimillionaire, Jeremy Corbyn, correct, is launching a new left-wing party. And I thought, you know, with all the intelligence that we have with the people watching this and the irascible personalities of everyone that watches this channel of Alive, let me just ask you a question. Jeremy Corbyn's new left-wing party, what should he call it? I'll start you off with a couple of ideas. Hang on, I'm going to cough. Hang on. Oi, oi, oi. So Jeremy Corbyn is launching a new left-wing party. What should he call it? Anti-Starmer? Cousin Shaggers? Or Jezbollah? Ria Odell? Oh, thank you, Ria. I do apologise. I forgot to mention you at the beginning of the live. Thank you very much for your kindness. So Ria Odell and I think alike. I think Jezbollah is a cracking name. Cracking name. Andrew James, SDP, Part 2. Des Ashton, the British Soviets. How fantastic. Nuts United from John Drizzle. You're wrong. Stuart, do you need a Jaeger top up, Rev? Just whisper so the bishop doesn't hear. Yes, please. Alan Biden, good riddance. Soul Rebel. Put Britain third. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Ernst Goldfinger, Diane Abbott Thickos. Brilliant. Exactly that. 28 days, 28 weeks, now 28 years later. The Bad Wolf Project. Honestly, I knew you'd enjoy this. Bad Wolf Project, the People's Front of Islington. Or TW74. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. Says, F off Union. Or Roy Gordon, Comrade 24. Napoleon blown apart. Put in Puppets Party. Sooty, naked. I know I cracked it earlier, but it's a fab gag. Stuart, on it. Brilliant. Oh, better finish this one off quick. Oh. Terry Wookfoot, caring, understanding 90s types. Nailed, Terry, nailed. There was something that, I'll get the PMQs in a moment and some of my observations, but have you noticed, and this is how the system works, this is how the deep state works, this is how Starmer the Harmer and the government work. It doesn't matter who you vote in, the government always gets in. And it's the uncivil servants that run the show. It's not the politicians. The politicians want to grift the money and the freebies. They're not interested in anything else. The Tories, they're just interested in shagging. But the Labour Party, they're interested in freebies. I mean, it's so grubby as a political party. But have you seen any reportage about the farmers' protest in London today? No Jezza, seemingly. Not that I've seen any, unless I'm wrong, of course. But I've seen the pictures of Westminster absolutely gridlocked with tractors. And the tractors, like 2, 3 aside along the cenotaph. Oh, Whitehall. And I mean, you can imagine Starmer spitting bloody feathers. And they keep reiterating, no, 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 no. 75% of farmers and farms won't be affected. Ah, man. Foxtrot Oscar. It literally is just, well, I'll pull some numbers out of the hat. Where'd you get that? From the same place we got 22 billion black hole. Not a way to talk about Rachel Reeves, you wrong'un. So that 22 billion black hole, give us some details. If you've been supplied with the details, give it to us. Because I've told you before, we now have peace, impending peace in the Ukraine, where Russia and Ukraine won't be washing or laundering any more money. So Starmer the Harmer won't have to give Ukraine £3 billion per year for the lifetime of this parliament, for as long as Labour's in power. Might be out next year. Not out, just out. He'll hold a snap election, because remember, these people are evil. So if they get rid of him and go, right, Sakir, do you want to talk about the size of your family? Or, Arthur or Martha. He'll fire a nuclear bomb up Labour and go, right, snap election, knowing that Labour's hated and they will be taken out of power. So watch for those fireworks and those shenanigans. But as I was saying, they don't want you to support the farmers. The farmers need your support. We need their food. But look at what Bill Gates is doing with his appeal, putting it on fruit. What's in that? Literally, I wouldn't touch that if my life depended on it. And now we've got that shite that's going into the cows, that's going into the milk. And now they're saying, oh, no, don't worry about it. It won't be transmitted into the milk for humans. I'm not taking the chance. And Cravendale's quite a nice milk, but I'm not taking the chance. Now, you have your choice. You can do your own research. But you think like me. And I know what the answer is from you. But I want to see the farmers supported, because I'm sick and tired of these politicians. I've told you a million times. How can you tell when a politician's lying? I'll do that again. How can you tell when a politician's lying? Especially Sir Keir Starmer. His lips move. And getting on to something else. I've told you since July. Honestly, if only I could predict the money markets as brilliantly as some of the stuff that I predicted. In July, I told you about the individual digital identifier that Tony Blair wanted to manage. So it's coming because, again, problem, reaction, solution. What they want to do is offer you something that they want to put into place, but they are going to couch it in that it's a solution for you. It's a solution to a problem that you have. Now remember, the solution was, take the jibber jabber, you can go out. Take the jibber jabber, you can travel. Take the jibber jabber, you can do whatever you want. And now people are dropping like fly with turbo cancers. In my view. Now Tony Blair, he's evil, but he's not as evil as Bill Gates. He's close to, thank you, Stuart. He's close to, but you're going to need a digital identifier to open a bank account. Pay your taxes, because you know how the system's going to work, don't you? And if you want to go out and buy some alcohol, you're going to need a digital identifier. Now, my digital identifier for any shop that refuses to sell me alcohol because they don't know my age is going to be simply because, do you think you get this at 17? So it is coming. They're going to do it whether you like it or not. Like Jacinda Ardern. Adern, I'm sure it was. Ardern. She and then she comes out and says, we are your only source of truth. Whoa! Straight out of 1984, that woman. Couldn't make it up. And then she gets a damehood thing from William. What did she do for them? Did she make them money or something? Des Ashton says, I don't have a problem with my existing digital identifiers. Rich, Karina, that's a laxative. Hang on, what's Karina said? Karina Jane, I drink coconut milk. Blimey. Maybe that's what President Biden has been imbibing. Oh, might be all that ice cream making him shit himself. Roy Gordon, indeed, likes people. Tough paper around AA. Yeah, exactly. I'm only 16. In the field says digital ID will be required to save the NHS, booking appointments and the like. We've already got an NHS number. I mean, I tried to, this cough, everybody that watches the channel regularly knows that it's been going on for quite a while and I need to get it looked at. So I rang the doctors yesterday. We haven't got any appointments. So what do you mean you haven't got any appointments? We haven't got any appointments till next week, but you'll have to ring back on Thursday. Right, okay. So I rang this morning, 8 o'clock. Hello, my name's Adrian. I need an appointment. I'm dying. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, sir. What's going on? I've got a cough. We haven't got any appointments. What do you mean you've got no appointments? This is like 8 o'clock in the morning when you've got all your appointments for the whole day. Well, it's 8:10, so they've all gone. I said, who has been booking all of these appointments? I said, I pay my taxes here. Oh, right, so could you make it over to so-and-so on Friday? Yeah, bit of a slap, but yeah. I can get you an appointment there. I said, why have you got so few appointments? Oh, well, it's all these winter bugs, sir. All the coughing and spluttering and people are worried and people get ill. The elderly die during the winter. That's why I need to have an appointment with the doctor. All right, sir, I'll book you in. NI number, passport number, driving licence number, tax number, pension number, NHS number, military service number. Bloody hell, Des. They've well and truly got your number. TOCA 69, NHS X was planned before 2020. What's that, TOCA 69? Is that like a new system where the last time they brought in a new system, they wasted about £45 billion? Terry Wookford, Adrian and AOC can eat apples through chain link fences. Brilliant. Well, she can eat bloody Bill Gates' apples because they've got shite on them. Alan says, I'll have to go through the app if I want to see the doc. I know, they said to me, have you not registered for online? And I said, well, I tried to, but you have to be able to gain entry. He said, oh, can't you gain entry? I said, no, you haven't sorted it. Oh, we'll do that when you come in, sir. Digital NHS, aye, right. Ring 111 for a sneaky workaround if you want to see a doctor quickly. You ain't seen me, right? In the field, agreed. I know nothing. Rich says, NHS weren't regulated, even with the digital ID. I got a £99 fine for getting my prescription a few weeks after my yearly prepayment ran out. Didn't realise, and they wouldn't let me backdate it. Oh, thieving bastards. What else was I going to talk to you about? But I understand that, is it Bill Gates possibly wants to manage it, but I know Tony Blair wants to manage it, this individual digital ID. I don't know. I know that Starmer is now saying that we gave him a mandate for change. No, we didn't. Everybody voted the Tories out. We didn't vote Labour in. Everybody voted the Tories out, apart from the diehard Tories, of course, and those that voted Reform. But a vote for Reform was still getting the Tories out because we were sick and tired of them. And Labour only got 20%. There was 80% of the voting public. They didn't vote for Labour. And he's like, oh, we got a mandate for change because, yeah, we got a load of Labour MPs. He can say that till he's blue in the face. Because we all know, and I think the reboot last week was them acknowledging that unless they do something, they're not going to turn us around. They're not. After what they've done to the elderly. Garth. So we know, they should know by now, that they're gone. They are a one-term government. They're gone. I said a little earlier that I just don't get Gen Z. And I'm not supposed to, in reality. I'm not supposed to. But I wanted to say this. There's a girl called Lily Phillips. And they kind of use different language now. It's not as blatant as you or I, who we might have a potty mouth and sweary Mary. But this girl, Lily Phillips, she said, and I quote, I've been ploughed through by 100 guys. Now, I know there's this body count thing going on, but I don't know about you. I feel like an alien. I feel like I'm on some weird planet and I don't get it. There's no virtues, there's no integrity, there's no principles. There's nothing going on with the youth. Now, I get it. We've all been young at one point, and I'm sure we've it used to be, it's a northeastern phrase, scare them and tear them. And you just, tear away, will do whatever they want, whenever they want. And all the youth has too much life flowing through their veins, to quote Robbie Williams. But this girl, I look at her, and she did an interview straight after this. Now, I know, back in the day, my mum used to do Avon. Now, they're all showing their stuff off on OnlyFans. Life has changed beyond all recognition. And it gets more difficult for you and I to navigate. I mean, I know the kids are mad as hatters, and I know for them it's a real trauma trying to navigate life. But I've lived a lot of life, and I've seen many, many things. Not all nice. So I've got a rod of steel up my arse. It runs right through me. And I'm not scared of much, other than heights, maybe. But these kids, they literally are ruining themselves. So I'll tell you about this Lily Phillips. She's been ploughed through by 100 guys. That's her term, not mine. And there's because it's instant gratification, there's no romance. And look, I'm really going to look like a dinosaur when I talk about courting and taking your time and getting to know someone. Gen Z, you turn up, bang a bird and leave. Like, they're getting 60 seconds each. 100 of them. And I watched this interview with this girl, because there's a girl from, is it Hull, who used to live in Australia. She's doing exactly the same thing for OnlyFans, earning millions, seemingly, by going and having a run through with dozens and dozens and dozens of men. And you just think, why is your life so vacuous and superficial? Is it all about the likes and the clicks? Is it all about making as much money in as short a time as possible on OnlyFans and then retire with all your millions? There was one model who, I mean, I don't know what she looks like because I don't do OnlyFans. She did some videos on OnlyFans and then retired with like 50 million in the bank. I know the wonder these kids are work shy. Why would you go and do an honest day's work? Houston 500. Yeah, that was back in the day though, moderator. So you've got these kids. Why should they have a job? If they can do OnlyFans or they can become an influencer on social media, they can earn money doing other things that's like brand new for society. But they know what they're doing because they've been brought up with doing stuff on phones and computers and iPads and stuff. But this one, I watched the interview at the end of it, and she was traumatized. I don't know whether there's any parents around or whether she's just headstrong and deciding, that's what I'm going to do. It's my life. I'll live it. All right, crack on with it. But I watched the interview, and she was traumatized. She was upset at the end of it. And she admitted, I can't remember many of them. I can remember maybe 2 or 3 guys. And you think, now again, maybe I'm of a certain, quite rich, I agree. But I'm of a certain age now. And I'm saying things here that I think, Jesus, my dad would have said that. And my dad would have laughed at me. But we all thought we were cool when we were kids. We all thought that we were doing like new stuff. We were going to save the planet. I was going to be a radio presenter. And my dad looked at me and he went, you what? You'll get a bloody trade first. You'll go and serve an apprenticeship as a motor mechanic first. But I watched this poor girl at the end, traumatized and upset. And you could tell that it wasn't what she expected. Because there will have been expectations there. I don't know who's talked her into this. I don't know how she's making money from this. But you could see the trauma written all over her face. 100 guys in 14 hours. And then 24 hours later, she's now done another promo. She's had her makeup done and she's, zhuzhed herself up. And she said, oh, we're going to go again in February. This time, it's going to be 1,000 men in 24 hours. Please tell me. I mean, is it a dream? Am I witnessing something that's a bit mad? My old mum, bless her, the best advice she ever gave me when I was in my teens was don't chase it. But when you find the right one, then enjoy the relationship and learn within it. The instant gratification. I mean, we could look. It's a joke fest. It is a joke fest. Terry Wuckfit, yeah, very traumatized, wasn't she? Well, from what I saw, I mean, now she's going to go for 1,000 consecutive in February. She must be filming it. But I mean, Ray Norton, it'll be like a decorator's paste bucket. Stuart, mothers have the best advice. Des Ashton, Chipolata down the Mersey Tunnel. I know. And I mean, is some guy going to go, that's my ideal woman? Not in this house, she ain't. I mean, I'm not easy to A, be traumatized, or B, whatever life throws at me, it's not, I don't see it anymore as unusual. Life doesn't surprise me. But that girl, Soul Rebel, like the top of a tramp's welly, Nikki Watson, she's going to need Diddy IV. The Bad Wolf Project, I wish the girl no harm, but she will off herself. Bad Wolf Project, I think the amount of trauma, I think it's money. It has to be the driver. It's not meeting my ideal man or woman, or it's not, I want to live happily ever after. The driver has got to be money. It's always the money, unless you're evil and like Diddy or Bill Gates, in which case it's manipulation. So watch out in February. There's going to be a traumatized female after being run through by 1,000 consecutive men. Man. And I try to rationalize it in my own head, and there's absolutely no doing it. The only thing I can suggest is that it's all about the money. So today's PMQs. I'm not going to go into the boring details because much of it was guff. But Kemi Badenoch literally was going for the throat, in my view. As I say, there were people who were going, oh, Starmer really got to Kemi Badenoch, and nobody supported Kemi Badenoch. But you know something? You can tell when Starmer is mightily brassed off. I mean, hugely brassed off. Why? Because you can see it in his face. Because it don't move. It's like a Botox face. It don't move at all. So Kemi Badenoch was going for the throat. And I was taken aback at first, thinking, ooh, Kemi, you're not mucking about today, are you? And she demanded that Starmer apologise. And I thought, well, that's very brave of you. But she demanded that Starmer apologise for signing a letter. Ask Alexa, I'm in the middle of work, darling. If you want to do something, we'll do it later. But up till now, shut the fuck up. Now, she demanded that Starmer apologise for signing a letter asking for an immigrant criminal not to be deported. He was into that kind of thing, because that's going to come out in January or February. You mark my words. So he signed a letter asking for an immigrant criminal not to be deported. And he was allowed to stay. And then went on to murder someone in this sceptred isle. And I was watching Starmer all the way through this thinking, Jesus, he's chewing a wasp. He's literally going to pop a fuse. So they're not mucking around with him. This is just the start, I feel. They've got all the information, and then they're not going to stop until he just goes, oh, Halloween shite, man, I've had enough. Because that's what they want. They want an early election because the Tories believe that they'll get back into power. No, they won't. Not by a country mile. I know I've used that a few times tonight. But I know that Farage and Reform, they're getting hundreds of millions of pounds behind them. And this new fundraiser who doesn't muck about. I mean, his wife's Holly Valance. Good on him. Remember her from Neighbours? She can sing a tune as well. So I would suggest that they've got into him now. They're getting into his ribs. They're going to make him upset, and they're going to come up with stuff that he signed maybe years ago. But he was a fan and he was a friend of Jeremy Corbyn. I wonder if he'll defect and go to Jeremy Corbyn's new Jezbollah. Not sure about that. Oh, I've got a question for you. If Siri had a mouth, the BBC will be pushing that. What the new Tory party? The new Corbynistas. Yeah, absolutely. Amalia, he's so brainless, it echoes around that head of his. You can see it. I mean, can you imagine sitting there knowing that we know, that he knows, that we know exactly who he is and what he gets up to and everything? I mean, do you think if there's going to be that slow dawning realization in his house that we've absolutely got his number, that we know? Because it's like these apocryphal tales that I would hear from the royal family or by the royal family, or they would talk about, like on my housing council estate. They would talk about things and you would go, nah, how do they know that? And like 30 or 40 years later, I think, how did they know that? I'm not going to give you any details. But you just think, how did they know that so long ago? And it was like people would tell me about certain politicians and what they would get up to and what Prince Philip would get up to. And you just think, nah, they're talking out of their backsides. And then, 50 years down the line, I'm thinking, bloody hell, how did you know that? Because it was true. No need to lie. Rich says, MI5 has connections everywhere, I'm sure. Alan, good song, The Cursal Flyers. Little does she know that she knows that I know she's two-timing me. That's The Cursal Flyers. What a hit that was. I mean, exceptional pop mastery. That's all I can say. Thank you, Alan. Tracy the Celibate Sinner. Won't be Greg. Rich, Amalia, who will win MasterChef? That's funny. They're seemingly going to air it at Christmas. But I think I've said this to you before, and I'm not going to go over old ground because I do want to get to talk about this very, very sad story about Sarah Sharif. But the BBC have PR'd this Greg Wallace scandal within an inch of its life. John T. Rowe, why did it take him 3 days? 3 days to say anything. Now, I'm sure the press would have doorstepped him and gone, John, can we... no comment. Or, yeah, he was a mate, but I didn't realise he did all that stuff. Blimey. And he was his best man at his fourth wedding. So all the stuff that initially came out seemed a bit contradictory, in my view. And now they're still going to air it. And he hasn't broken the law, even modern law, because he would be arrested and charged. So he hasn't. He's apologised. Again, Is it people thinking, well, if we get enough mud to stick, we might get a few bob-through barristers who are very clever people and might actually want us to take a civil suit against him? I hope that's not the case. Now, look, this is not me saying, oh, just get on with it. We're all adults. I kind of get it. But because if it was any woman around me that was treated like that by him, I wouldn't do what Rod Stewart did and write him a letter. Go off! Get round there and say, oi, Bonnie lad, car park now. Or I didn't mean, well, women, let's sort it out the way men sort things out. Without fuss. Rod Stewart writing him a letter. I mean, I get he's 80-year-old. It's not exactly MMA. But I think leaving it alone, Greg needs to go away on a long holiday and then come back in the new year. And then what the BBC will do is they'll do a focus group to see whether they should bring Greg back, because they tried with some of the Strictly Come Dancing pros and they haven't brought them back. I don't know why, though, because it was all a bit of a nothing, the Strictly thing. But the BBC are really, really, really in the shite. So in the morning, I'm going to do a video about the BBC, because another one of their presenters is being outed as a pervert. I'll do that in the morning. But I want to talk about, because the thing that affected me most today was they haven't done a lot of reportage around this murder. And I don't, for my own sanity more than anything, I don't want to go into detail of the injuries that this 10-year-old girl suffered. But it never stops being from a certain community. And I know that there are people that take us for fools. And this community, they either need to integrate or they need to foxtrot Oscar. Because the murder of Sarah Sharif, it'll be on the front page of every newspaper in the morning. She was 10 years old, and it was her father, Irfan Sharif. Stepmom was also guilty, Danesh Patul. And he left a note. Wasn't my intention to kill her. I beat her up too much. He left a note and then ran off to Pakistan. Why would he run off to Pakistan? Well, we know. I'm being facetious. And they, including an uncle who was also found guilty today, they beat her up and abused her for 9 months. A 10-year-old man. And the day after her death, he wrote a note and said, I'm leaving because I'm scared. What the actual narcissistic fuck? You're scared? And then they made a phone call to the police from Pakistan. Now, this is not me saying that these evil individuals should have stayed to face the music. I know what they did. I wasn't particularly interested in why they did it. A 10-year-old little girl, man. It was a campaign of abuse over 9 months. And he said, I beat her up too much. A little 10-year-old that didn't tell anyone. Didn't tell anyone what her dad was doing to her. And the level of injury and neglect, according to the cops that worked on the case, is very rare. Thankfully. I mean, there were broken bones, there were deep bite marks, there were bruises everywhere. sentencing is going to be next Tuesday. And when I was trying to work out earlier how I would present this to you, whether you knew the case or not, my anger and my rage, because I can't control my rage. That's why I took up the martial art, to make me a more efficient killer. And in my view, the stepmother, and I look at society and say that women are the supplicators, women are the protectors. We men can be, unusual creatures at some times, but women should be the supplicators. She wasn't. She was part of the abuse. She was found guilty. But a man that says he's killed his own daughter, I beat her up too much. What the actual fuck? Look, he don't have to go to jail, because when he does go to jail, he's going to be eaten alive inside there. And they can radicalise him and they can do whatever they want, but the system won't be able to stop. There will be a little girl. You know what the boys in the big house do? You touch a woman, wife, mother, daughter, they'll bide their time. But the system will go, well, we have to protect him. That's not how it should be. The system didn't protect his daughter, did they? No, 10-year-old. And I've said to you, we always should protect the young uns and the old uns, the little uns and the old uns. Because, there's all these idiots running around with weaponry and knives, and the old uns are getting it tight and hard every which way. And society doesn't, what kind of a society doesn't protect their old ones? Who? And we are getting repeated cases of people doing really evil things to children. Why can't we, as a civilized society, just go, that's too far? And now what we're going to do is we're going to mete out retribution. So skin them, chuck them in a vat full of salt to start. Because what can the courts do? I know we've talked about many different things on, people are sentenced to this and rapists get less, and because sometimes the law is an ass. But the level of injury and neglect this little girl suffered, even hardened cops who see and deal with the real shit in society, the worst of the worst of the worst. But the only way that they can deal with this is the people, because look, the police are merely the evidence gatherers. That's their only job. And then they pass it to the CPS to decide and determine whether a prosecution should be brought and whether they have a good chance of getting a conviction. That's how the system works. But even hardened cops who've seen a lot, they're saying it's one of the worst crimes they've witnessed. And even me trying to rationalize it to you and trying to think about how we as a society can deal with this kind of stuff, I don't think we can. Because we're too far up the woke shitery that people go, oh, well, he might have been traumatized when he was a child. Go off. As human beings, we have a choice. And it's a choice for our actions. And our actions can be any way that they choose. But you can't break the law. And in my view, we should not allow little uns to be abused and beaten up and injured to such an extent that hardened cops are saying that it's the worst injury and neglect I've seen in my service. And my anger rises up and I just think, just leave it to me. Honestly, 5 minutes, that's all it'll do. 5 minutes. And I would take great pleasure. I'd only need 5 minutes. But what will they do? They'll send him to prison and he'll be in for 20, 30 years. Three meals a day. Supported, looked after, institutionalised, and there'll be thousands of old people that die from the cold this winter. They won't have 3 meals a day. They won't be looked after. This whole world at the moment is being consumed by evil. And is there a way out of it? Do we, as a modern, thinking, understanding society, have a way out of this? I mean, I know that these idiot clowns are saying we're going to build new prisons, which were already ratified before the last lot of clowns were ousted. But I'm going to ask you a question. In cases such as this, should the death penalty be brought back? There is no mistaking in this case. He left a note admitting it. He made a phone call to police admitting it. And when he got back on the plane, he said to the cops that boarded the plane, "You'll be looking for us." At first, he said, "It's me wife." And then 7 days into the trial, he said, "No, actually, it was me." So he's admitted it. Should the death penalty be brought back? 1 for yes, 2 for no. 1 for yes, 2 for no. And I'm interested in your take on this, because the case is very emotive. And, you know, the hang 'em and flog 'em brigade. But in the good book, it says an eye for an eye, a life for a life. Do we go down the religious route? Very interesting. Rich makes it clear. Clear admitted murder of a child, yes. Now, if there was, as in this case, a campaign of abuse over 9 months and the level of injury and neglect very rare, it's almost an open and shut case. You can say, and categorically say, this could be. But then again, we have jails and we have a system. Is it going too far with a death penalty? Lauren Taylor says 1, and I'll pull the lever. Alan says that's the Old Testament. It's still in the good book, being the Torah and the King James. The problem with death penalty is it will be used at some point on an innocent person. I get that, JP. But did we get rid of the death penalty because we saw ourselves as an evolved society, that we actually knew what we were doing? But in this case, it was a 9-month campaign of abuse. He admitted he beat her up. I beat her up too much. He admitted it. He left a note admitting it. He made a phone call admitting it. And then said, "Oh, it was somebody else." 7 days into the trial, "No, it was me." But if we had the death penalty there on the statute book, and in this case they would blame somebody else, they would know they would be going to a death sentence, so they would try all different stuff to get out of it and to manipulate the system. I've never been so emotionally fraught by something that I've seen in the media for a long time. Damilola Taylor. But I can't, in all good conscience, I think society needs to take a hard look at itself in where we're going. Now, I know I've talked about other things tonight, and it may seem that I'm a bit old-fashioned, but it's about integrity for me. It's about principle and integrity. Because I don't think society has any integrity. The politicians certainly don't. They can be bought 10 to a dozen. But it's only those that have any experience of life and any understanding of life that get what we should do as a society. And as I've said previously, not hang them and flog them. But in this case, I would take his life. 10-year-old baby. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Life should mean life when a prison sentence is given. Thank you, English Bottle Cap. Orkida, even Pierpoint didn't believe the death penalty worked. Oh, young Albert. The Bad Wolf Project, James Henry Tish Corbett. Don't know the name, Bad Wolf Project. Stuart, you, me both. And Stephen Hall. An English Bottle Cap makes a very, very, very good point. And prison time should not be a comfort ride. So, again, they go to prison to be reformed, seemingly. And halfway through your sentence, they hope that you can take a look at yourself and acknowledge what you did. But I'm with English Bottle Cap. Life means life. Send him in. Forget it. Just chuck the key away. And Stephen Hall says he should get a whole life term. Amalia says he needs hard labour with 1 meal a day. People are saying it shouldn't be an easy ride, prison. They shouldn't be mollycoddled. They shouldn't be looked after. A 9-month campaign of abuse. I didn't mean to sort of bring this particular live to a conclusion with that particular story, but it is, as a society, it is something that we need to start having an adult conversation around. There's evil amongst us and it needs to be dealt with. I don't think the cops have got the resources or the manpower or women power, if you wish, to be able to deal with this kind of thing day in, day out. CID would deal with this, not the cops on the beat. And it's always the political will. But thank you for your opinions and thank you for your indulgence this evening. My name's Adrian Allen. This is the Theatre of the Mind. We are more than just the headlines. If you don't mind, smash the likes on your way out. You've probably eaten all the Battenberg and drank all the altar wine, so there's nothing for me except a cup of tea before I go to bed. So be well, stay safe. And we'll do the next live this coming Sunday, 8 p.m. Was it the 15th on Sunday? We're only 2 weeks away from the madness, so I hope it's not adding any extra anxiety or stress to you. But be well, stay safe. My name's Adrian Allen. I'll see you on Sunday with more videos to come in the morning, of course.